Hello, everyone. It's glad to be here. This is Ed from PingCap. Today, we are going to. I'm going to talk about the open source community, open source project born in China, and we want to go global. So I will share some of my thoughts and observations to, yeah. Okay. First part about me. My name is Ed, and I'm the CTO and the co-founder of PingCap. PingCap is an open source database company. We are building the open source database called TiDB, and you may notice that my title is CTO. So basically, I usually talk about technology and tech mostly, but today I'm going to talk about the community and open source. And I'm working in distributed system for many years, and unlike most of the engineers, I started programming when I was about 10 or 11. So basically, um, and you know, I first time I used Linux and joined the open source community, I was about 12 years old, and it's a young little boy, and I don't have many friends back then. We can talk about programming and the Linux. So I basically, the programming and the open source community is my video games back then. So I think that's a reason why I start a business, start a startup in open source business. Basically, I live in Beijing, but I travel to San Francisco periodically. And this is my email and the Twitter account. If you have any following questions, you can just contact me. Okay, the first part is introduce the project and the company. My marketing team asked me to do that. About PingCap, my company is we started this company like 4 years ago, I think, almost 5 years. And we are building, just like I said, we are building the open source database. And right now we have more than 200 employees all over the world. The headquarters is in Beijing. And part of our project, we donated to the storage part. We donated to CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. And right now, it is an incubating level project. And last year, we got a 50 million US dollar round C. So, okay. And I think I just mentioned that we are open source company, and according to the statistics by CNCF, and we are the top 10 open source contributor to CNCF project, and I'm very proud of it. And PingCap is the only startup in this top 10 vendors. Yeah. And basically, we are using Golang and Rust programming language, and I want to do a quick survey. How many of you guys have heard about Rust before? Okay, not everyone, but yeah, Rust is a great programming language. I think it can be the great alternative to C++. So PingCap I think PingCap, this company is playing an important role in Rust open source community because we are maintaining a lot of open source package for building distributed system via Rust, like gRPC and Raft and RocksDB and Prometheus, something like that. And And also, we are heavy Go users, and we open source all these components and software in GitHub. Okay, this is the TiKV. Now it's a CNCF project. About the product we are building, the name of the database is TiDB, and the system is inspired by Google. Google Spanner. Google Spanner is a globally distributed database which is widely used inside Google. We read the paper 5 years ago, and we tried to create the open source implementation of that system. And basically, and TiDB speaks MySQL via protocol. So you can just consider TiDB as a super huge MySQL if you need unlimited scalability and you still want to use the database via MySQL query interface. You can check out TiDB. And yeah, it is a distributed MySQL compatible database. We built it from ground up. For now, this project is a 4-year-old project, and it is very young. And the special thing is that this project is originally started in China. And you can consider, if you're familiar with the database community, you can consider TiDB is a popular NoSQL database using Google Spanner model. Yeah. Okay. And currently, we gain more than 20K GitHub stars, and we have more than 300 contributors all around the world. Okay. So my topics today is about how to run the open source community and how to run open source project start from China, and I want to share some insights about the differences in open source community and open source marketing in China. Yeah. The first important thing is in Chinese open source community, we use totally different communication tools, and we don't use Slack, and we use WeChat and QQ everywhere, and it is not good. And the good content is even cannot collect it by search engine, but people use it, so we have to live with that. And also, WeChat is more than just messaging app. WeChat have a feature called public account. So the company or anyone else can post a blog post via WeChat, and it is becoming the major marketing channel for most of the company in China, the WeChat public account. So basically, we consider our WeChat as our official website and official blog. So that's very interesting. And in China, few people use Slack. People don't use Slack at all, I think, but we does. And also, another interesting thing is that we do the project governance via WeChat. So, yeah. And another big tool is GitHub, GitHub Universe, right? And we also use GitHub in China. It is like a de facto standard for all the open source projects. Yeah, Slack. Let's talk about And another important part is marketing. So you create a new project. If you want to do the marketing in Chinese market, you may use a total different ways to do the marketing. But I think the most important thing to me is content marketing, and it really works. And but just like I said, we are using totally different channels to post your blog post or do the marketing. And yeah, this is some channels. I think the first the most important channel is WeChat public account I just mentioned. Another is Zhihu.com. Zhihu is like the Quora in China, and it is kind of like another kind of social network. So we basically our marketing team maintain two major platforms. One is WeChat, another is Zhihu, and in the third place is using some social network platform like Weibo.com. It is like the Twitter of China, and yeah, and some individual bloggers. And another interesting, funny thing is that few people read hacker news. Basically, no one reads hacker news. I know that if you want to run the open source project in United States, maybe if you want to launch a new project, the hacker news is the best channel. You want to really announce your news, but not in China. And folks are really like reading techno stuff and the blog posts through WeChat. So yeah. And of course, using Chinese content is more popular. Yeah, is obviously. And also we did a lot of the conference like QCon. It is very popular in China, kind of like the biggest conference. If you want to attend, QCon is the biggest one. Another is Arc Summit. It is another famous technical conference, biggest technical conference in China. The third is, I think from my own practice, is KubeCon. Yeah, KubeCon Shanghai is a very huge conference. Yeah, and also like many open source projects, we do meetups, and in China, the most popular meetups is always held by the project, open source project itself. Like PingCap, our company, we are hosting the meetup called Infrastructure Meetup, and in past 3 years we have already have more than 100 meetups, and in Beijing, Shanghai, or other cities in China, and it is really very useful. And on the other hand, another great meetups is held by some programming language community like Golang and Rust, but actually we don't have some JavaScript meetup or Java meetup, things like this. And there's the tips. And people never use Meta.com in China, so you have to find some local website like 活动型.com, things like this. Yeah. And the funny thing is that this is our Slack. You can see we are using IFTTT to show all the the keywords mentioned. If anyone tweet about TiDB or PingCap, we have a bot to show in our public channel, so we can reply or something. Yeah. And speaking of the community, and in last few years, Chinese open source community are not is not actively actively playing with the foundations like Apache Foundation, but things are going better in recent years. Like some bigger companies like Huawei and Alibaba are donating their project to the foundations like ASF and the CNCF, as you can see. But like I said, most of the active open source contributors are from big companies in China. We don't have many individual contributors, and always, I think from my personal observation, Chinese company in these foundations are more like the sponsors, not the code contributors. But I think things are getting better. Like you can see Alibaba play an important role in CNCF. So I think things are getting better now. And on the other hand, Chinese companies, I said, why I said is like the end users, and the Chinese companies users are more like the open source adapters rather than the contributors, because the business of these companies are growing really fast, and the users and the companies are very more practical. And but since I think we are doing well, and I can see the things are changing because when I running the TiDB community, I noticed that more and more end users become the active contributors to the open source software they are using. And I think because China got its own culture, and so we have our own local open source software community, and I think a lot of popular open source project in China may be completely unknown to the US community. Like I have an example like Codis. I'm the author of Codis. Codis is a distributed Redis proxy, so you can use Codis to create a distributed Redis cluster. And I create this project before official Redis support distributed mode. So it is a killer feature, and I think it is so popular in China. And let me see, we got a lot of GitHub stars of this project. And yeah, and this project is more than 10,000 case, and hundreds of companies using this project. But besides China, is completely unknown, and it is yeah. But on the other hand, the popular open source software like Kubernetes, Docker is also very popular in China. So yeah. And another fact is that the users tend to believe the influencer and real case studies. And so if you want to make your project, you know, get more adapters, you may need to write some, something like use cases and try, yeah. And speaking of the commercialization of open source software, the business side, unlike the US, and we making money by the business model is still the on-premise is still the mainstream, but SaaS business is now very successful in China in recent years, unlike US. But because in China the engineer cost is not as high as in the US, so people tend to maintain their own software stack and own data center. So, and another big reason is the trust, because right now the traditional users, traditional companies are still not very get used to the cloud-based architecture. So still on-premise is still the mainstream business model. But I think things are getting better. And this year for PingCap, we transfer all our business model to the service subscription model. And according to my observation, the things are going well. And on the other hand, I think another important reason why Chinese market matters is if you are early stage open source project, if you want to get more users, get more adoptions to polish your project, and the Chinese market, China is an excellent market for a new open source project because it is not a news that if you are a US company, if you want to try something new, you have to put a lot of effort in researching all the projects in the same area. So maybe you can do you have to do the research for half a year just to pick up to pick up one. But most of the Chinese users just want to solve their problem as quick as possible. So if your project is really can solve the problem, and people they just use, and so I think for the open source project, Chinese market have more potential users and shorter adoption cycle. And on the other hand, of course, for us, if we are building a database, it is a very hardcore project. So that means we have fewer competitors in China. Yeah. I will take PingCap and TiDB as an example to show how we do the community governance and the community management in China. And this is the community organization tree. We learn a lot from the Apache Foundation and the CNCF, but we do some new roles like reviewer and active contributor, because we want the organization like a job ladder, so everyone has their roles. So yeah. And our community workflow the center is Slack. Even though the outside community doesn't use Slack, but internally we use Slack to connect all the tools we are using. Let's take an example. For example, internally we are using Jira for our for the bug tracking, but why we use Jira, why we maintain the internal Jira is because it is because some of the bug or issue is reported by our paid customer. Some of these may contain some confidential information, so we have to maintain the maintain the internal Jira to check the issue and bugs. But what if the and also we still have a lot of community users, and community users may use GitHub issues to post the bug report or something. So we write a boot robot to synchronize the GitHub issue to our internal Jira platform. Yeah, this guy, SRE boot, and the workflow of a contributor, or we can say, if we are running a code review in GitHub, and in our case we have a lot of test cases internally. We are not open source all the test cases because it is so huge. We have a testing farm we running in our data center. It is composed by hundreds of physical nodes. It is a distributed system to running distributed tests, and But what if the contributor contribute a new feature, but they want to run, they want to see the test result? So we also build a boot for this, and I noticed that this morning GitHub announced the GitHub Actions, so maybe we can use that feature in the future. But for now, we are using a boot to check to toggle the internal test. You can see this, just like that. Okay. And from the content strategy, inside PinCap, we have a 10 people team focusing on internationalization, because people are using Chinese in China, of course, but we still want our content, because a lot of users is non-Chinese, so we have to provide English content for the community. So we have an internationalization team. Most of them are technical writers to translate the Chinese documentation and the blog posts to English. And this team also maintain all the marketing channels like Hacker News and Twitter, things like this. And of course, if you are a project, you are open source project, you want to go into China, the localization is also important. So my suggestion is not simply rewrite the content from English to Chinese or from Chinese to English. I suggest you have to write in the native way. And also, beside the traditional online online marketing and project governance. We are also running some offline events like training. Yeah, it really works. And recently, we launched an interesting project we call Thailand Plan, because we are using Rust programming language. It is a very young programming language, so we found that the biggest blocker is that we don't have enough Rust programmer in China or all over the world. So if we want to grow the community, want to get more contributor, the first thing we need to do is to write some Rust course and the Rust content to help people understand Rust and help them to to make them more practical Rust programmer. So we write a tutorial help the engineers to use Rust to create writing distributed systems. Yeah, this like practical network application in Rust. We create a lot of tutorials to help users to help the community understand how to use Rust or Go to write distributed systems. And also we held the hackathon. We have our hackathon every year, and I would say hackathon is a great event, and it really works. And I think we can call ourselves hackathon-driven company, because most of our many of our important features is created in hackathon by our engineer or the community users. Yeah, and also another important event is the project conference, like GitHub Universe. We have our own conference called TiDB DevCon. We held last year. There are more than 1,000 attendees to TiDB DevCon in Beijing, so it's very popular. And if you want to run the Chinese open source community, I think you'd better to create the Chinese form. We have one we call Ask TUG. Is the users can post questions, issues via this website in Chinese, and we will periodically move these questions to GitHub issue and translated to English, so that the users can they can, using search engine, search the issue keywords. They will have Chinese content and English content at the same time. Yeah. And there's some tips to help the project running the contributor-friendly community. This is my own practice. The first thing is that remote first. Engineers like us, we don't like talking to real people, so we always discuss online. So yeah, another is of course put the COC on your project. So yeah, it's also very important. And I think for the biggest blocker of of new contributor is the first commit. So for us, or for me, I will help on if you want to contribute to our project. if you reach out to me, I will help you to hands-on to get your first contribution, step by step. So once you finish the first contribution, and yeah, that will be okay in the future. And the another tips is be open. Share all the things you all the things like code comment style, the commit message style, write it in document to help the new contributors to get into the community, and putting, GitHub supports some pull request and issue template. So use these features, and this very contributor friendly. And of course, update the project roadmaps and the design documentation to make sure everyone in the community know what's going on and what will be next. And sometimes you can share the roadmap and feature design in a very creative way. Like recently, we host a challenge program. We started an event. It's an online event. We called Performance Challenge. We put some feature proposal and the design doc in the project GitHub issue page. So the community and every issue have a score on it. So the contributor can, if you finish this feature and your PR is merged, and you can have a have a ranking board. So it is very interesting event. Yeah. Yeah. This is some takeaways. I think. The first thing is that running the project born in China or born in the United States is not important, but keeping open and transparent is very important. So we are trying our best to lower the bars for the new contributors and help them to, and also help them to learn the necessary knowledge, help them to learn the programming language, things like this. And the second takeaway is that using some automation tools and creating some bots that may make your life easier if you want to maintain the large community. And localization is very important, and it's especially for Chinese market. So I think the best, if you want to run a open source project in China, you better install the WeChat. Okay. The last thing I want to say is that we are living in the complicated world. Sometimes is frustrated, but engineers like us, like you and me, are working together every day, collaborating every day to create better software. So I think we are not consider ourselves as a Chinese open source project or the United States open source project. We just an open source project. So thank you, and this is my talk, and you can check out in GitHub. Give us a star. Thank you.